Guys, how are you doing? This week is really busy. It's one of those weeks, actually the next basically 2.5 weeks. I'm just like, how are we gonna do it all? There is so much to do, and just classic self-employed paradox. You either are so stressed because you're quiet and you're like, how am I gonna pay my bills, blah blah blah, or you are so busy and then you're just so stressed because you're so busy. So it's that slight classic of never happy with either. I've got my second workshop with Columbia, and I am going to a recycling centre, which is going to be so exciting. It's in Hull, and they do all of this amazing recycling with things like when you return, when you go to Boots and you might return your empty bottles, so they reuse that and turn it into new cool things. So that's very exciting. That's Wednesday. Thursday, I'm hosting a dinner at Apricity with really interesting people in the sustainability space, so that's going to be really cool. And then next week I have 2, if not 3 workshops, so also this week need to be preparing for all of those. And then the following week, but early on in the week, I think it's like Tuesday or Wednesday, I have another quite big workshop. So I think that is 4 or 5 workshops in basically just over the next 2 weeks that we need to prep for. Oh, and I've got my really exciting, slightly secret project. Big deadline is at the end of April. So I also need to make sure that I am factoring in some time for that. It's my end of year accounts, and I actually made slightly less money in the last financial year. And initially when I found that out, I was like, oh, that's not good. I mean, I obviously had an idea of it because I'm like doing my accounts throughout the year. I'm like keeping on top of it monthly. So I kind of know where I'm at. But like when you just look at all at the end, I was like, that's obviously not great. But actually kind of did some thinking about it. And I think it actually necessarily isn't a bad thing. Just by looking at what I'm up to in a week, and then when we think about where my accounts are, I think it's okay. First, I'm prepping all my fabrics for my workshop with On. I've got a mix of fabrics that I have in my studio, and also sourced different secondhand things which kind of fit the colour scheme. We are going to be doing bandanas, which is a really fun workshop. It's really nice when you do a workshop and people are like really happy with the end result, and I think bandanas is one of those. People always really love the end result. My example bandana for On, these are my fabrics. So it's kind of linking to this shoe, and so it's got like a bit of slightly limey around here, and I'm really interested in that shape along the sole. So I think I'm going to stitch that together to make one big piece, and then I'm going to use the neon to put in some of those shapes along there. It's a good day, guys, because a delivery from Lazzie's chocolate has arrived. I don't know if you've heard of them, but they do amazing, like super delicious chocolate, which is way lower in sugar than standard chocolate. So it's just like really tasty. So this is a new one, which is carrot cake. Oh, so good. Who doesn't want carrot cake chocolate? And it's, yes, this one 65% less sugar, and they're honestly so tasty. This is the other one which I adore, which is the pretzel one. So good. Lucky me, what a treat. Thanks, Lazzie. Today is a busy one. I have just written my newsletter, which is very fun. It's just kind of like a little recommendations letter and like workshops, what's going on, which I send out monthly, kind of like what books I've enjoyed reading, maybe if I've done a nice walk that I think people will like. Yeah, so just a little recommendations note that I kind of do monthly. And now I need to edit some more content. I need to finish editing my YouTube, which will be live by the time you're watching this, which is all about how to start an upcycling brand, all my tips and what I've learned over the last 7 years. So that'll be live, so you can watch that if you haven't already. Finished doing some prep for my workshop on Friday. Tomorrow I am out all day at the recycling centre, which is going to be so fun. I think it's going to be really interesting, but I actually have so much like in studio work to do that it's not ideal timing to be away for a whole day. It's in Hull, so eco field trip with some other amazing sustainable people. So it is going to be really fun, but it's just like not good timing because I feel pretty pretty stressed about everything that I need to do. But I also do quite like feeling stressed. I don't know if that's good or bad, but I get like adrenaline when I'm really busy, and I love that adrenaline, which I'm not sure if it's good or bad, but there we go. That's what I'm like.
Form those exact types of and we can start like bringing it on. His main point is like that if they've got something there to work with, they want to do the separate count of cardboard in. So that's a single that goes through the die and then the big stuff.
Yeah.
So all those little white.
Back from the recycling centre, and it was honestly so amazing, but also so overwhelming. Just the scale of waste. They're doing really amazing solutions that they're providing, and a lot of it is for waste that's really hard to recycle, but the waste is just mad. And pre-consumer waste, this is a lot of the stuff. There was stuff that it's cheaper, or the brands don't want to be devalued by putting this product into the market, so they just recycle it or dispose of it instantly, which is really sad. And yeah, so it was a really fun, good day, but just super overwhelming. And now have got back to London and can't find my keys, so I am at peak overwhelm. Had a little cry in M&S, bought a sandwich and some cookies, and gonna find off to my boyfriend's other side of London to stay, and then have so much to do. I don't want to complain about it because I've had quiet periods last year, and I'm really grateful for all of this work, but the overwhelm is real. I'm getting all my stuff together for my dinner this evening with Apricity, and I thought I'd show you my seasonal veg napkins that I'm so happy with. They look so cute. Carrots. This I think is my favourite one. Purple sprouting broccoli. So I've made embroidered rockets, a seasonal veg napkin for everyone, and also made name places like this, which I'm going to clip onto a piece of cardboard, so it's like a little cardboard placeholder. In June me and Apricity are doing a napkin workshop, so people can come and make their own embroidered napkins. So it's a nice like tied together of me having made it in advance, and as like an example for this dinner, and then other people being able to come along and make their own.
Originally, because I found them and I was like, this. I just want to see that more. We know the pre-love market's huge. We know people love vintage. Why are those made?
Dinner went super well. It was so nice, and it was a really good reminder, like bringing together all these different people in sustainability and like different parts of the industry, how collaboration, like everyone has their area of specialism, but bringing people together and the need for like a collective cause and working like in unity and like all on the same goal was really good, and super interesting to hear everyone's different perspective and thoughts on things. To the studio, and I have to do some final bits of prep, just like packing everything up for my workshops this afternoon. We've got 3 workshops from 1 till 5. Sorry, I got distracted by people knocking on my window. Chantel and the whole Apricity team hosted us in such an amazing way. They were just, everything was so beautiful. I'd really recommend going. Similar to what happened on Wednesday, going to the recycling centre and kind of seeing all the different people in effort. Like, we've all got the same goal, and just a really good reminder that how having people around you who do a similar thing in terms of like a mindset, and who want a similar end goal, and kind of like live with a purpose and really care about trying to have a positive impact to make the world a little bit better. Something that I really, really try and live by, and my mum is like a huge champion of, is that like individual, your small action isn't too small. I know there's huge companies, and I don't like the huge companies putting the responsibility on us as individuals, but I do think the individual action, firstly collectively, adds up dramatically, also actually makes you feel slightly empowered to making some sort of impact, which I think is so important. Everything is really overwhelming, like the scale of issues is huge, but having some sense of autonomy, some sense of impact, some sense of like what you do matters, because it really does, I think is really important, and both of those two occasions really reminded me of that. My Columbia outfit, let's go. Workshops went really well, which is so nice. I am so tired, but it's nice and sunny, and it's now Friday night, so don't need to work this evening, and I'm gonna work at the weekend because there's still quite a lot to do for next week. So yeah, busy week, but all went super well, and it's just quite fun, just doing all these different things, meeting so many different people, and having a good time. I was editing this video together and realised at no point did I come back and do any chat about why making less money in the last financial year maybe isn't a bad thing, or kind of my thoughts on it in general. I think being British, we don't like talking about money too much, so I thought I'd have my green tea update on my thoughts about it. It was obviously a bit of a shame to not have made less money. I like track my accounts pretty much every month, so I kind of always know where I'm at, and I can kind of see that trajectory happening. Last year, some of like my highest months, and then it was just kind of matched by some low months, so I think it was just more like this, where in previous years it's been more like, I don't know, less extreme, a bit more of a consistency, but last year it was definitely like really, really amazing months, and then less good months. I asked ChatGPT, what do you think it means that I've made less money? And initially they thought I was in year one, and they were like, oh, it's okay, it's fine if you're in year one. And I was like, no, I'm year 7, you know, and they were like, oh no, that's not good. It means you've created a job for yourself, not a business. And then I was like, oh, I've made a job for myself, but like, this is a great job. This is such a great job. I get to meet so many different people. I get to do so many different things. I have creative freedom. I have time freedom. I can do whatever I want. I happen to want to work all the time because I love what I do. My work is like really rooted in my personal values of being centered around sustainability and creativity. Absolutely, I'd apply for this job. I would think this sounds like a great job. So that made me feel good about it. Like, I also think when you're self-employed, like, it is, financial things do always go up and down, and I think you kind of have to ride the wave, and it does mean I'm so good at saving money. Like, I am so good at being really sensible and really good with money, and I never thought about myself as being good with money, but I've realised I am really good with it. You kind of have a little pot the whole time for backup in case you have a slow month, so I always have that, and I think that's really helped. And also always putting money away for tax always helps, so then like, I'm never really kind of caught short in a situation. Always do to kind of reduce the money anxiety, which I think is so strong if you're self-employed. So when I made less money, the main reason that I didn't match my income from the year before was because I stopped doing so many studio workshops. The year before I did like probably one, if sometimes 2 studio workshops every single week in my studio, and that was so fun and like did actually get me quite a good amount of income. However, also means I always have to try to my studio, and if I've got loads going on, I quite like just to keep things out. I don't want to hide it every time, so kind of not doing as many studio workshops was a really intentional decision. This is just a job, like I'm really happy with it as long as it is always covering all my outgoings because you've got to pay bills. But as long as it's always doing that, like, this is actually a really, really great job, and I'm really happy that I get to do it. Make enough money, but I don't think the amount of money you make should be your metric for if things are going well. I think you just really need to enjoy what you're doing. Obviously, paying yourself, covering all your bills, existing, so vital, obviously, but I think it's okay if one year you make a bit less money than the year before.